It's the Blue Jays This Week vodcast. Ben Ennis and Mike Wilner. Hello, Michael.
Hello, Bennis.
Let's talk about the Oakland A's series before we get to the Red Sox series, which is about to start, so we're speaking on Tuesday. But four-game series could have gone either way.
Really could have.
It didn't go the Blue Jays' way, though.
No, it didn't, no.
Save for that first game, which was not close.
Second game. First game, the first game was the embarrassment, right? Just like the first game out in Oakland. That one they lost 9-4.
But then came back to win the next two.
Right, but this time they didn't do that. They came back to win the next one.
Yep. And then
not so much.
Well, let's talk about the final game of the series and Casey Janssen, who's been so great this season. I'm going to say the thing that's going to upset you is that it was not a save situation. It's obviously a correct situation to bring him in because there's no save situation possible in a tie game at home.
Exactly.
But what is it? I really need to crunch the numbers because
you want the numbers? I'll give you the numbers.
Do you actually have the numbers?
I have the numbers.
Closers in non-save situations.
If you'd read my column on
I can't read.
Sportsnet.ca.
Can you teach me how to read?
I will.
Thank you.
I will do that. Yes.
All right.
Here's the thing. In non-save situations, it's been pretty terrible. But in
tie
games, prior to Monday afternoon, Casey Janssen had appeared 8 times in tie games. He had a whip of .5.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. He actually appeared 9 times.
Went up a little bit, though.
8 innings pitched. 1 run on 4 hits, no walks. So he'd been spectacular in tie games. Not so much yesterday.
No.
But I mean, I'll give you the closer in a non-save situation when
I'm not
you're
saying
up by 10 or down by 10.
I'm not saying it makes any sense. I'm just saying that it seems
there's probably some validity to it.
Yeah.
I think he's got an ERA over 5.5.
But the guy has not been a closer his whole career or anything.
But it's also different in a tie game. I think when you come in a tie,
you still have the closer mentality.
Yeah, absolutely. When you just come in to get some work and it's 7-1, I don't think you care as much. Not that you don't care, but I don't think you're as into it as you are when you're in the save situation.
Good step forward for Jay Happ in that game as well, and he was pitching with a heavy heart.
He was. His grandfather just passed away. He's on the bereavement list right now as we speak. That's kind of why they moved him up, one of the reasons, so they get to his grandfather's funeral. But he was phenomenal, and it looked early on like it was going to be same old Jay Happ, 44 pitches in the first 2 innings, 10 to the first batter who takes him deep. But then he settled right down. And in his first start against Seattle, it took him 97 pitches to get 20 outs. This time it took him 102 pitches. No, 97 pitches to get 12 outs. And this time it took him 102 pitches to get 20 outs.
I think people love on the vodcast when you do math live and you see the hamster run along that wheel. It's just amazing stuff.
It's it's good stuff. It's important things for people to see.
Yeah,
people. This is all about the people.
This is why we do this.
Yes.
Esmail Rogers is no longer in the rotation.
No. Nor should he be.
No,
you don't think he should be?
No, absolutely not. He's been rancid his last 7 starts. Like horrible.
Yeah, 8.50 ERA.
Yeah, but I don't know why John Gibbons had to come out and say after his last start that he was going to make his next start. You know what?
And this is the thing. And this is why a lot of people get kind of upset with the Blue Jays. They feel like they're being misled.
Right?
But
do you think he honestly believed that?
No, but if he says... I guess
we have to look at things. He doesn't even have to say how
if he says we have to look at things, then everybody runs and goes, all right, they're taking Esmail Rogers out of the rotation.
Who cares? That's what's happening anyways.
This is valid. This is not invalid. And that's what they should do. Instead of saying he's going to make his next start, he's my second baseman.
You can't believe anything this team says.
Be out a day or two. That sort of thing. You know what? They're entitled to change their mind, but it would be nice if they left themselves the openings to change their mind without being so definitive about a lot of things.
Do you honestly think they changed their mind? Because, I mean, you would have thought that you thought, really? Oh, well, John Gibbons said, well, let's trot him out there again for that 8th start. He should have been taken out after the start before, though, or the one before that. I suppose.
Right? So it was always the same thing. He's our guy. He's going to stay in the rotation. If it would be nicer if they weren't so definitive about things that there's a good chance they're going to change their mind on. But that's the way they seem to want to do it. And you know what? The truth is they don't owe us anything. They don't have to tell us a damn thing. They could be like British soccer, where nobody talks to anybody ever.
I don't agree with that at all. I think they do owe us a lot. No, but I think they do owe us.
They owe us their best effort on the field.
Maybe not us, but they owe the fans. They owe some level of honesty. And if they don't, I mean, they're going to start to get a bad rap. You know what? You don't owe. You don't owe.
Belichick, doesn't he? Isn't he?
You know what the difference is? You know what the difference is? Wins. If you win. If you're on pace to win 100 games, you can say whatever you want. You can lie every day.
Yeah, maybe.
And the fans will be happy about that. Anyway,
like say you're not going to go manage another team next season.
Yeah. Well, speaking of John Farrell, one of his
talk about John Farrell.
No, one of his minions, Brian Butterfield. I got to catch it. Wait, All right, maybe not his minions, but a guy that Blue Jays fans know and love very much.
We love Brian Butterfield.
I got a chance to catch up with him. He's the subject of our Ford Leaders in the Field segment.
Ford Leaders in the Field. Presented by the 2013 Ford F-150, Canada's Player of the Year for 47 years running.
Here with Brian Butterfield, and Brian, obviously you were a mainstay here in Toronto for so many years, and some great ovations on opening days by the fans I can remember. But what's it been like making the transition to Boston with the Red Sox?
It's been good. It's a great city. It's a very passionate city, just like Toronto, and it's my home. You know, I grew up an hour and a half from there, so getting back there and having my grandkids and all our family members right there is really nice.
What about John Farrell? Obviously, you knew him from your time here in Toronto, and you guys go together, and you keep some of that nucleus together. How much has that affected things this season?
Well, it's good when you get to know the people that you're working with. He brought along Torey Lavello and Brian Abraham's with us, and there's that looks like a flying eagle that's been flying around us. But Torey and Brian have been there, and there's a bunch of guys that I have history with. Greg Colburn I had as a player in Arizona, so we have a real good coaching staff, good guys, and a real good dressing room. The players are just outstanding. We have great veteran leadership, so it's been a pleasure working with those guys.
Yeah, Brian, I want to talk about that a little bit because obviously the talk about the Red Sox team last season was that there was a lot of problems in the clubhouse. Things changed, get a new manager. Some veterans come in, and it's supposed to stabilize things. How much of an impact can that have on a team?
Well, I think it's very important. I think that the people in your clubhouse are essential. And Buck Showalter told me a long time ago, he said, a clubhouse that polices itself is a good clubhouse. So we really don't have to worry about spending a lot of energy on the things that require effort and intelligence because it's already taken care of by the veteran players. So just being around those guys, you can have trust in them, and you know that they're going to get things well taken care of.
Obviously not your first time back here at Rogers Centre. You guys were here earlier in the season. What's it like, though, coming back to Toronto?
Love coming back here. I love this town. I have great memories. It was 12 great years of my life, and now I'm in another chapter, but I always love coming back here. Some great people in this organization upstairs in that dressing room. So there's nothing but good memories, and there's always a big challenge ahead of us because we know this is a talented group, and they're going to get after us.
Before I let you go, Brian, I want to talk about your club right now, the Red Sox, obviously enjoying life in first place. There's still about 6 weeks left in the regular season, and it's going to go down to the wire. We know the American League East, it's always a meat grinder down the stretch. But, I mean, how fun has it been going along on this ride and when expectations were not quite that high for this Red Sox team, but to pretty much enjoy first place from the get-go? Well,
it's been so far so good, but like you said, there's an awful long ways to go. I think we have 42 regular season games to go, and a lot of September is played within the division. So there's going to be a lot of people beating up on each other, but we're looking forward to the challenge, and I know Toronto is, as well as Baltimore and New York and Tampa Bay. It's just a great division, and there's a lot in front of all of us.
Thanks a lot, Brian.
Thanks.
All right, there he is, the man, the myth, the legend, Brian Butterfield. I hate saying this on every episode that we do an interview, but he may be the nicest man in baseball.
I'm a little jealous that you got to do him by yourself.
Well, show up earlier.
Yeah, that's what happens when you don't show up earlier. but Butters, he is absolutely the best. I have great memories just standing right there along that the little wall beside the Blue Jays dugout, talking for like 20 minutes about infield play and drills and all this kind of stuff. He's there. We do say it every time, but Butter is absolutely the best.
Well,
period.
And he had some
Ford Leaders in the Field.
Yeah.
He's the best infield coach there is in the major leagues.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was interesting to see Oakland take infield the other day.
It really was something else. Good for them.
Not very often you see that. Maybe.
But that also had to do with the fact that everyone was hurt. They wanted to see if Brandon Moss could field the ground ball through. He almost killed somebody in the stands.
They've had some problems up the middle as well.
You know what? You should take infield. You should take infield at the beginning of every road series, just to familiarize yourself with everything around. And what's
especially when you're playing on field turf, it's different.
Yeah, but I mean, every team should do it. And that's the first time I've ever seen a team.
Listen up, Major League Baseball. Mike Wilner dropping some knowledge.
With it.
Okay, I want to talk about something that Butter was talking about there, and that's the clubhouse and having veterans and a clubhouse that can lead itself and doesn't need outside leadership from the manager, but that can control itself because of some veteran presence in it.
Right.
Now, how much do you buy? I mean, it's hard not to listen to Brian Butterfield. My goodness, but do you think it's not quite as much as it's made out to be?
I don't. And I think that there's a lot of myth-making in all of sport.
But we're not in
has
there.
Something to do with it. No, we're not in there, and it's true. But I don't.
And it's hard not to look at that Red Sox team that had so many internal problems last season and look
just because they cleared out Josh Beckett and Carl Crawford, everything's different.
I don't know.
I can't imagine.
And the manager?
Well, the manager was an issue from day one.
Yes.
With that team, but that also speaks to the clubhouse. If you in mid-April, if you're this wonderful veteran presence clubhouse guy, like say a Kevin Youkilis or a Dustin Pedroia, and you're throwing your manager under the bus in mid-April and then just throwing the season in the toilet, I think that speaks to who these people are as well.
Yeah.
No, I mean if it can affect you that way, that's kind of petulant. Hey, we don't like this guy, so we're not going to play well till we get somebody we like around here.
Well, I'm not blaming any of what's happened with the Blue Jays on John Gibbons, but I'm wondering if the Blue Jays do make a managerial change at the end of the season.
I don't think they do.
What does it take to make a managerial change?
You need a new GM.
You think?
Yep. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
I don't think Alex Anthopoulos is making a change. I think Alex understands what John Gibbons does. I think Alex very much separates emotion from everything else. And I think he realizes that it was a mistake to let him go the first time. And he's not going to repeat that mistake. In John Gibbons, you have someone who is a very, very good tactician, someone who works the bullpen very, very well, and who matches up, who does the things that a manager can actually do to help a team win a game very well. And that's why I don't think he's going anywhere.
And maybe the Blue Jays are just playing well below what they should be. And
They
maybe
are,
next year they'll be
absolutely.
the Red Sox of this year.
Yeah, with a couple of changes and a couple of tweaks, there's no reason not to.
Just need to get some pitching. They're dead last in all of baseball
It
now
really
in
is
starter
amazing, isn't it?
ERA.
And this was supposed
They
to
pick
be
up
their
the-
great strength.
Reigning NL Cy Young Award winner.
Yeah, ERA champ from a couple of years ago. And
Crazy.
It's crazy because, and I've said this to you before, this offseason, if you go out looking for starting pitching, you're not going to pull in better than Dickie Johnson and Burley
Nope.
that you did last season. And look how, it's just blown right up. So
who knows
what they're going to do.
That's why they play that's why they call it baseball,
That is
Mike.
why they call it baseball.
Exactly
Yeah.
why. He's Mike Wilner. You can follow him on Twitter at Wilnerness590. I'm Ben Ennis. You can follow me on Twitter as well at BenNSSnet. We'll see you next week.